Hello, Council. Miss Adams. I've seen you on the news on Channel 11, and I live in Shamrock Manor out there where Mr. Alfredo is building his cement plant. But I'm here because of the Shamrock Civic Club, specifically Mr. Joseph Boxey, and how the city of Houston is being used for somebody that lives in a neighborhood that's building homes. He buys lots and he builds homes. And the city of Houston's legal department is used to bully. And people are being bullied are not black. They are white, Hispanic, actually two sets of Hispanics at 3819 Swingle. They got rid of that trailer park. Look at the satellite view, because I mentioned that trailer right across the street. Your aide heard it. Still there, but that trailer park's gone. I lost $72,000. The lady that bought the trailer park lost $100,000 plus the cleanup. When you look at those pictures yesterday, the manhole covers have been gone 5 to 6 years. There's no $250,000 houses in that neighborhood.
Thank you.
Not a one. And this lawsuit is still pending.
Thank you, Mr. Burns, for appearing before us.
Ms. Mary Taylor, to be followed by Dr. Anita Spivey.
Hello, Council. Miss Adams. I've seen you on the news on Channel 11, and I live in Shamrock Manor out there where Mr. Alfredo is building his cement plant. But I'm here because of the Shamrock Civic Club, specifically Mr. Joseph Boxey, and how the city of Houston is being used for somebody that lives in a neighborhood that's building homes. He buys lots and he builds homes. And the city of Houston's legal department is used to bully. And people are being bullied are not black. They are white, Hispanic, actually two sets of Hispanics at 3819 Swingle. They got rid of that trailer park. Look at the satellite view, because I mentioned that trailer right across the street. Your aide heard it. Still there, but that trailer park's gone. I lost $72,000. The lady that bought the trailer park lost $100,000 plus the cleanup. When you look at those pictures yesterday, the manhole covers have been gone 5 to 6 years. There's no $250,000 houses in that neighborhood.
Thank you.
Not a one. And this lawsuit is still pending.
Thank you, Mr. Burns, for appearing before us.
Ms. Mary Taylor, to be followed by Dr. Anita Spivey.
Is the council member that represents Westheimer and Kirkwood here? Okay. Well, this all began on May the 6th, about 12:30 in the morning, when I got a call from the next speaker, Alita Nettles, that her car had been towed from her work at Half Price Books. Miss Nettles is assistant manager. She worked 2 hours over, about 2.5 hours over, doing inventory. She came out and her car was gone. So I came and picked her up, took her out to Sugar Land, where she lives. The next morning, I come from District D, 2060 Main, all the way out to Sugar Land, pick her up, go get her car. I tell Miss Nettles while I'm there, I said, appeal this. This is appealable. They have an appeal process in towing. Well, out on the sign where she was towed, I went out there, it said Carl Enterprises. Well, when we got to the storage lot, it was now Jet Towing / Images Interest or something. We don't know which dog is out there that towed the car. But I talked her into taking the time, going to the appeal process, sending certified notices every time. Now, the tow company didn't show up for the city hearing, but they appeal it. Now, when they appeal it, all of a sudden it's not in the city's hands no more. It goes down here to the civil court, down here in the civil courthouse. Well, Miss Nettles, the towing company showed up, and they lost. Now, when we go up to the court coordinator, how do we get her money? Oh, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can tell you. Well, I'm going to tell you, at the end of a hearing like that, there should be two persons. The record service or the court coordinator should say, Miss Nettles, is this the correct address to give you your money back? Now, Miss Nettles is sitting in here. They've had her money since May the 6th. She's went through the procedures. I'm here for her $257 back. She's an assistant manager. How long do you think she had to work for that $257? That's all I have to say.
Thank you for appearing before us today.
Okay, Ms. Nettles. Ms. Nettles will be followed by Mr. Wayne Webb.
Hello, Mayor and Council. I'm just here for my refund. I won the case for the tow, and they've never given me my money, and I'm just here to request that I get my money.
Okay. There was a finding in a JP court, I think. And you appeared in the justice court yourself?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not criticizing this. This is why the justice courts are there. This was, and you did so without the benefit of counsel, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Justice Hillary Green found in your favor, and then it appears as though, I'm asking the city attorney also, that there was some judgment taken in that action, and the issue is really how one goes about executing on this judgment. And I can't tell you now, the recesses of my mind are getting pretty foggy from the days I practiced law and certain things, and I never did have somebody in the situation that just where I had to actually execute on the judgment on the property. But and we can't get in the regular business, but somebody may, and there's various laws that attorneys can't give advice to people who aren't their clients and stuff like that. But there ought to be somebody, here's paperwork where we can get it started in the right direction of how one goes about executing on a judgment by a justice court. And if you, Chair, recognize Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Ms. Nettles. Over here. You went to the civil courts, which we don't have any jurisdiction over, but there are some places that have legal clinics like the University of Houston, the NAACP, that can help you go about executing judgments, where you can figure out how to get people to pay you money that they owe you, because sometimes when people owe you money, they don't do what they're supposed to do, which is pay it. And if it's, I think you said $257, sometimes it's not worth it for you to go hire a lawyer, because it's going to cost more than $257 to go get a lawyer to help you to execute the judgment. But there are, again, some legal clinics. There's also Houston volunteer lawyers that help people with stuff. You can call them and they can walk you through steps so that you don't have to go out and pay more than $257 to get the people to pay you $257. Okay. If you want for me to write down the names of those groups or organizations, I'm happy to do that for you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair, and I would like to, Ms. Nettles, I'd also like to recognize Councilmember Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Nettles, first of all, I want to thank you so much for bringing this matter to the attention of the City of Houston as well. But one thing that I did notice in the pictures that you provide to us, and thank you so much for detailed information with that you brought to us. But may I just have a question? She brought us a picture, and I know just recently we went through the detail about the towing signs and display of towing and who the companies are, so when someone is towed, they would know who to contact. So is there some way, because I don't know how long it took you to find out who found out the original, who was the actually towing company who towed your car? Because on the sign it said one company, but then we found out it was like another company, but it wasn't actually the company that towed the vehicle. So I don't know if there's something that we could do too, because I'm putting myself in a person who was towed, and I'm looking at the sign, if towed, call this number. But then when I called this number, say, no, we're not the towing company of that parking lot anymore. So what do we need to do as a council to make sure that some of those property owners as well, that they update their information, since we're, trying to enforce, towing and booting and all that wonderful stuff. So what do we need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen to this young lady or anyone else, when they're looking for their automobile?
Yeah, and maybe you could respond a second of how you found the towing company.
Okay.
Well, there was a phone number on the sign, but
Okay.
there's like 3 different companies involved, and I really got confused because there was one company name on the sign, and then there was the jet wrecker that actually towed my car, and then there was some other place called Mega Interest. So I was pretty confused at which one was actually the one that towed the car.
Well, one thing is that I'd ask the city attorney just to look at the requirements that we have concerning the obligation of the landowner to do the postings, and that those postings be kept current. And if there's not, there's a consequence. Because, it's a fine line between theft of an automobile and towing, and we've got to make sure that that line is bright. And then the other thing that the city attorney ought to look at is just, do we or can we get periodically from the justice courts some summary of information concerning, judgments for unlawful towing? And then, has the state taken away any of our power to pull their permit? I mean, if you are subject to repeated, judgments for unlawful towing, then I know at some point, I forget whether it's consent, non-consent, and all that, but the state had tied our hands behind our back in dealing with some towing regulations because of the tow truck lobby. But it doesn't want to be held accountable to city government, apparently. Some elements, not all. Some are very understand their responsibilities.
And if you're an employee, you should be, feel assured that your car will still be there when you come out, or,
Yeah.
you work there, so you should feel safe,
And so, and I know that in a separate discussion with Justice Gerzynski, there was some database that he was referring to that justice courts kept for some purpose. I cannot remember what that purpose was. But I think that if there is such a database or a coding of these cases, that there ought to be some regulatory responsibility to see if this is a pattern of conduct that certain towing companies engage in. If y'all could look into both of those things, I'd appreciate it. And help as we can to find out what a citizen does to execute on a lawful judgment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.